All right, so if you're going to make your questionnaire, and let's say you're trying to figure out how fun someone is, and simultaneously figure out whether or not investigating fun is actually a reasonable thing to do, like is it a scientifically valid category, then you might want to generate a whole bunch of items and also put some in there that don't obviously measure fun. So let's have some descriptors that don't seem to fall on the fun, non-fun dimension. What's outside of that?
You could say stoic or reserved.
Okay, which one?
I would say stoic.
Okay, and define stoic.
Being quite careful with your words, not having an excess of emotional response.
Okay, so you think you can be fun and not have an excess of emotional response? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just wondering if that's what you're claiming.
I think you can, in a sense, because you're in a social situation and not talking all the time doesn't mean that that's not a role to be given in a particular situation.
Okay.
You can be a listener and still have fun.
Okay. Okay. So what other descriptors? Look, I mean, fun can't mean everything, right? Because if it means everything, then it's not a useful word, because a word has to mean some things and not other things. That's convergent and divergent validity, in a sense. A word can't mean everything. It has to mean something specific. So what's outside of the fun, non-fun domain? Yeah, so you can be fun and stupid. In fact, that might even be easier. All right, so intelligence might be outside of that. What else might be? And you could be envious and fun still. Seems least probable. How about mean? Can you be mean and fun? Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So, okay. Okay, so now we're starting to get the idea that fun circumscribes one dimension, but there are other potential dimensions of variation outside of that might be interesting to look at. And so we've sort of thought about, mean, and we thought about intelligent. What else did we come up with? What else is sort of outside of the fun realm? Patient? Okay, so you can be impatient fun or patient fun. All right, seems reasonable. Fashionable? Yeah, okay. Do you think that's a person, who said that? You think that's a personality trait?
I think it means that you pay attention to what other people are doing and the trends that are going on. So I think it speaks to how you are perceptive of others and how much you care about whether or not you relate to them.
Yeah, okay, so you definitely do think it's a personality characteristic. And that's fine, it could well be, you know. Is there a difference between a personality characteristic and an emotion? You think emotion is inside personality, so it's nested inside it. The personality is the larger category, and emotion is the smaller category. Yeah, it's a funny thing, because there's lots of a priori suppositions in psychology that you have to watch out for, and one of them is that just because there's different words for different things, that doesn't mean those different things really exist separately as separate things do in scientific terminology. So, for example, the relationship between personality traits and emotions and values is relatively unclear. Whether those things belong in the same or different categories is by no means clear, and people will claim that they do, but the overlap is substantial. So, okay. Yes?
Like we also usually think of emotions as being more transient. Like we all experience sadness at some point. That doesn't mean that that's a fundamental trait of our personality. It's like we're all able to experience it, but it doesn't usually define who we are unless we're...
Right, and so that's part of the definition of a trait as something that's enduring rather than transient. Okay, so you could say that's actually a hypothesis. Your hypothesis is that what we refer to as emotions are brief flare-ups of some of the phenomena that we would consider traits if they were enduring. Yeah, and that's a reasonable hypothesis. Although if you describe a person as sad, Do you think you're describing their personality or their emotion?
It could be either. I would normally think emotion.
Yes, yeah, okay, yeah, well, it's tricky business. Okay, so the reason I had you generate all these additional words is because you need to find out that your category fun has a bunch of things that it doesn't cover, as well as a bunch of things that it does. And so we've hypothesized a number of things that might constitute additional domains of variation, and so you might want to throw those in your questionnaire too.